Welcome everyone, or welcome back. Either way, it's great to have you here. Hope everyone's staying safe and staying kind to one another. And for today's video, it's going to be a really special unboxing. It's actually something that I've had for over 2 years on ice. So it's about time I actually break it out and just show you what it is. You probably have an idea based on the thumbnail, but there's a lot of cool backstory and why I'm actually taking it out right now. I think it was just the perfect timing. So today's video is actually going to be about this right over here. So you can see here, it's a special Reebok Classics box. You probably have an idea just based on the title of the video, but there's so much that goes on in this video, and there's so much reasoning as well on why I'm doing this now. So first and foremost, if you haven't subscribed to CHIPlifestyle.com, just by following and submitting your email, and what I mean by that is that you'll always be notified just in terms of the new content whenever it gets posted. And one of the most recent contents was actually a post I did about 5 key lessons that I learned from Be Water, and that's so beneficial for your professional and personal growth wherever you are in life. And if you don't know what Be Water is a recent ESPN 30 for 30 documentary done by about Bruce Lee. It's actually incredible in my personal opinion. I think it's a bit different, but I really like the execution. And there's so much cool things that I learned about Bruce Lee, but also just in terms of the lessons as well, and I think it's so applicable. And if you don't know who Bruce Lee is, he's an amazing mixed martial artist, but as well, like a filmmaker, actor, director, but really someone that pioneered towards a shift in more cultural representation. So I do recommend checking out that blog post. I'll leave the link in the description below, because not only are you going to see those lessons that I'm talking about that I learned from Bruce Lee's Be Water documentary, but also just really some cool facts that you probably never heard about Bruce Lee before. So definitely check it out and let me know what you think. You can let me know in the comments below, of course, right? But nonetheless, it's just kind of related to what I have inside the box. And for this particular sneaker, it is a collaboration between 3 different brands. Of course, Bruce Lee being the main, but then you also have Reebok over here and BAIT. And if you probably noticed, yes, this is a BAIT t-shirt. I actually got this at the BAIT Honolulu shop, and that was actually covered, like the inside is actually shown in one of my previous vlogs, and like that, I'll also leave the link in the description if you're interested in checking that out. So let's get into the unboxing. So as you can see here, it's a black Reebok Classics box. I'm not a big fan of it. I kind of wish they did something more special, especially because this was about Bruce Lee, and this was released back in 2018 February for All-Star Weekend. So even if it was kind of something about Reebok Classics and basketball, right, I still would have thought like it would have been dope to have something Bruce Lee or just something more special than just a black classic box. So as you can see as well, right, just by the box, it's one of these things that you can pull out. So when you pull it out, it's really cool in the sense where it's just like kind of like the classic, right, Reebok 90s vibe, and the classic font that they have on the packaging. So once again, nothing special, which is disappointing, but at least they stay true to like the 90s theme, of course. But here, there you have it. But at the end of the day, there's so much details on these sneakers that I really want to get into. So now that the sneakers are out of the box, I do want to talk a little bit more about each of the brands that's collaborating on this project. So let's start with BAIT. So with BAIT, as I mentioned before, I am wearing a tee from them. This is actually a collaboration that they do with the really incredible artist Hebrew Brantley and his flyboy at the back. It's really a dope shirt. And the thing is, BAIT is really known for being more than just a sneaker store or a streetwear store. They do all these awesome collaborations because it kind of ties into what they really are fans of and what they support, which is streetwear, sneakers, sports, anime, pop culture, comics. Like there's so much cool stuff that they've done, and they've collaborated with so many different pieces. So just in regards to that, if you've never heard of BAIT, definitely check them out. I really hope they do open up a Toronto shop. But the thing about this as well, like as you saw in the unboxing, I was a bit disappointed just with the classic Reebok black box, only because with BAIT, they're so key on details, and they always kill it for the most part in terms of the packaging whenever they do a collaboration. They recently did a Toy Story Reebok collaboration, which was insane as well. But I actually do have a pair of sneakers, and as you can see here, I did put it over here. These are the Diadora BAIT Transformers collaborations. These are really dope, and you know, I really like them as well. And you know, like for this, right, like the packaging, the detailing is crazy, but look at the actual box. As you can see here, it was an Optimus Prime colorway, right? And you actually have the Optimus Prime box, and this wasn't the only colorway that they had. They had 3 other colorways based on different characters, like Bumblebee, and even with Bumblebee, like he had his own thing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I really expected whenever I do like a BAIT, whenever I purchase from BAIT. But nonetheless, right, like it's really dope. And of course, they also came with this really cool action figure as well. So I think that's kind of what you would usually expect from BAIT. You can always expect some kind of detail and some kind of storytelling component, right? So that's really cool about BAIT. And you know, like I said, definitely check out the vlog as well, because that's just how one of the locations look like. And you know, I do hope one day they open up in Toronto. But let's talk about the next collaborator. So in terms of the collaborator, we just talked about BAIT. I kind of talked about Bruce Lee in the beginning, but just a little bit more about Bruce Lee, right? Like, he really popularized Kung Fu. Like, he had a lot of different roles. And you know, even though he passed way too soon, he has known for like some classics, film like Enter the Dragon, The Game of Death, you know, like certain classics that kind of live on today, and just kind of like his philosophy as well, right? So that's why he's so loved by so many. And you know, I remember talking to my dad just earlier on as well, right? Like about, you know, like him talking about his movies and how fast he was, how skilled he was. It was just something that you've never seen before, and something that you may never ever see before. But he has a legacy, and he has this really cool kind of mentality that he has left behind. So I think that's kind of also why like BAIT really wanted to do something with them. So we talked about BAIT, we talked more about Bruce Lee. Now let's actually talk about Reebok. Yes, they wanted to be part of this collaboration, I feel, because there's so many good players and collaborators, of course, but I think they really wanted to do something special for the All-Star weekend. And mind you, even though you may not think Reebok is as popular now, they were really popular in the 90s, especially for basketball, right? And you know, I actually do have, you know, some of these popular sneakers from the past right over here. As you can see, these are one of my favorites. These are the Orlando Magic Shaqnosis. You know, these were an absolute steal. But you know, these are one of these key sneakers from the 90s. Another popular sneaker I'll just show you right now are these Omni Pumps, and these are actually customs. I did this like a couple years ago actually now. But you know, these are also some really cool kind of like chunky, right? But you know, just cool detailed sneakers from, you know, the past. And the sneaker right now, the Kamikaze 2s, they go hand in hand with that. The reason why they go hand in hand with that is because these particular sneakers, actually the silhouette, the Kamikaze 2s, are a signature shoe for Shawn Kemp. If you're not too familiar with who Shawn Kemp is, you can definitely check out his highlights. I think that's the best way to really, you know, see why it's so relevant, and you know, why he actually got his own signature sneaker. Shawn Kemp, he was on the Seattle Supersonics with Gary Payton. He played alongside him, and you know, he was an absolute terror. Like, he was phenomenal on the dunks, and just kind of explosive gameplay, game style, and you know, gave MJ and the Bulls some problems, right, in the 90s. So definitely check it out, right? That's how I am familiar with Shawn Kemp. But you know, just also doing my research, right? Like the Kamikazes, the reason why they went with that is because they wanted a sneaker for Shawn Kemp, because he was signed under Reebok, but they wanted something that was just kind of explosive, something that's outlandish and bold, just really like how he is on the court. So they came out with the Kamikaze, and then after they released the second iteration, which are these, the Kamikaze 2s. My personal opinion, and this is not just biased, I actually do like these more than the Kamikaze ones. Only reason being is because I really like this kind of like Thunderbolt kind of silhouette that they have, right? That's all present. And, you know, we're going to talk more into the details of this specific collaboration colorway, of course, but I just feel like, you know, with any colorway, you're always going to have that bold distinction, right? But, you know, let's actually talk about this particular sneaker and colorway, because there's so many cool details that you may not see before. So the first thing that probably caught your eye on these sneakers was this gold mustard yellow, and of course contrasting with the black throughout the entire sneaker. What that is that it's taking heavy inspiration from Bruce Lee's iconic jumpsuit from Game of Death. If you haven't seen Game of Death, you probably are familiar with this one scene or one photo of Bruce Lee doing this amazing jumping kick. It's actually right here. It's one of his signature, photos and poses. And that's, just kicking alongside Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I think that was really cool. And, I love the fact that they put it on the heel and they kind of dressed the whole sneaker with that. So that's what you're going to see here. That's what you see throughout the entire sneaker. And there's a lot of cool other details. So first and foremost, you have the different collaborators as well throughout. You have Bruce Lee, right, just near kind of the toe box. And you have BAIT and Reebok embossed here. So it may be a bit hard to see, but they're actually on that. So BAIT is actually right here, just near the toe box area. And it's kind of cool that they actually have these kind of dots as well, right, that lets you breathe a bit, right? So that's really cool. And then also on the tongue you see Reebok. But one of my favorite features as well is just kind of the 3 stripes, the bloody stripes, and that's once again from, I believe, Enter the Dragon, right? And for that one, like, I think that's always kind of cool because you see that throughout the Kobe's and the Nike collaborations, right? But the fact that they put this on the BAIT Reebok Kamikaze 2s, I think that's just a good touch. And then so like, it's funny because I think maybe on the video it looks more yellow, but it also kind of gives me some weird Charlie Brown vibes, if I'm being honest. But nonetheless, it's still really cool. In terms of the outsole, it's the same thing, black and yellow. Nothing too special, right? But nonetheless, right, it's still kind of clean. And you kind of have like these dots, the perforated dots throughout. And also like on the heel tab, you have Bruce Lee's signature. I think that's really cool. And one of my favorite as well, right, is like, if you can see here, it's a Bruce Lee, the sock liner that they put on here. That's once again a cool touch that maybe not a lot of people are gonna see, of course, but still cool to have nonetheless. So in terms of text and specs, right, there are a few things. I believe the sock liner and just the comfort as well is that it is ortholite, but in terms of cushioning, it is hexalite, and that's something that Reebok is really known for, especially throughout their basketball models. It's nothing super like comfortable or anything like that, because it's just something that's standard throughout their entire basketball sneakers, especially from the 90s. So in terms of the comfort, don't expect something super comfortable like an Ultra Boost, but don't expect as well something that's so stiff, right? In terms of the upper though, right, I think the leather on this is really nice, right? It's cool. And I think as well, just in terms of the way that they have constructed like the rubber outside, I think it is going to be something durable for the winter time as well, if you ever choose to rock it then. But yeah, like, I think it's really cool that they have it. You can also see on the outsole as well, just a little bit of the hexalite technology, right? And I'm actually really curious to see how these look on feet. So now I've shown you on feet how they look. I also want to mention on how I actually purchased them. So in terms of these particular sneakers, they were won through raffle. It's a bit of a different kind of raffle. So what it really is that with BAIT, whenever they do collaborations, and this is from ever since I followed them and what I've seen, is that they actually do these raffles, and you enter it, you have to do it before a certain deadline, and if you get selected, then you can purchase those sneakers. With BAIT, it really depends on what the collaboration was. I believe the Toy Story one was really super limited, right? So I don't think a lot of people won that one. But this one, I remember I entered a bit late and I actually did win it, right? So it really depends. And not all the time there's stuff that gets left over from a BAIT collaboration, right? So definitely check it out and definitely try to enter as soon as you can, or at least before the deadline, just to be selected. So in terms of the fit and the comfort, like I said before, I wasn't really expecting anything super comfortable, and I was kind of thinking something really sturdy and stiff, just because I'm really thinking about what I felt and experienced when I first put on the shrunk noses. And even to this day, it's still kind of something that hasn't really broken all the way through, in my opinion. So I think that's kind of what I expect here. That being said, I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker for you, right? Because I think these are just a good sneaker to have. And maybe if you are pooping it in the regular, maybe it's gonna break apart, but I wouldn't really recommend these. I think for these are just good to be on feet for casual wear. And as well, like I said, I think it's gonna be very just good in the winter as well if you ever choose to wear them. So in terms of the comfort and sizing, I do recommend going true to size. That was the one that I went with, and you know, I think it was good fit. It's what I went with for my prior models, the Shaqnosis and the Omni Pump, and the same thing. It's a bit stiff. There's a break-in time. You know, I don't really know when the break-in time is because I always kind of find it a little stiff and a little sturdy. The reason why I like these sneakers is because it's kind of like that, right? And I don't actually hoop in these sneakers. I usually hoop in something else more recent, right? So in terms of this, I would kind of recommend you just stick it for casual wear. If you want to hoop in these, let me know, but I don't recommend it. I kind of recommend these just to have for casual wear because I think these are really dope and these are really nice retro, and I think the materials on these as well is gonna provide some good durability. So in my opinion, I do recommend going true to size, and I think it's gonna be something that's more sturdy and durable. But let me know what you think, especially if you have these sneakers or other Kamikaze 2s, because I know recently they've been trying to push a little bit more of these out there, right? But they haven't really done one as dope as these. So I'm really happy I actually copped it when I did, because I believe on StockX it does vary just in terms of resale prices. So as always, I'm always going to provide a detailed review on ChipLifestyle.com just about these particular sneakers that feature more pictures and more details, of course, of how to cop and just kind of maybe some backstory as well. And in terms of this, right, make sure you do check that out. It's going to be in the description box, and make sure you check out on more ChipLifestyle.com reviews that are coming up as well. And you know, let me know what you think about these particular sneakers. Are you interested in copping? Have you copped a recent pair of the Kamikaze 2s? I'm always curious to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you do like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support does go a long way. And until next time, peace.